The Garden of Eden was discovered, and it's not what you think. For ages, this myth has captivated the imagination of people around the world. Hidden in the mysteries of ancient stories, its exact location has puzzled explorers alike. And what if the discovery reveals something far more sinister than we ever imagined? Follow along with us as we explore the depths of this mysterious revelation. A recent discovery by a group of archaeologists might be one of the most significant in human history. They claim to have found the famous Garden of Eden, the paradise described in religious texts as the perfect home given to Adam and Eve by God. For centuries, this mythical garden has been the subject of endless searches by historians and scholars, all trying to find its hidden location. Up until now, all these efforts had led to nothing, until this latest breakthrough. Led by Dr. John Smith, a team has managed to crack the mystery. Dr. Smith, an expert in ancient scriptures and artifacts, discovered a cave in northern Iraq that led to this astonishing find. As Dr. Smith and his team prepared to announce their discovery to the world, a mysterious blackout struck their camp, severing all communication. In the eerie silence, rumors of an ancient curse protecting the garden began to spread. Inside the cave, Dr. Smith and his team found a vast network of underground tunnels that opened up into a hidden paradise that has fascinated humans for ages. After weeks of careful exploration, they found a large cavern with a stunning waterfall and lush, vibrant plants. It was immediately clear that this place was extraordinary. The vegetation was not only beautiful but also genetically unique, closely matching descriptions of plants from ancient texts. Artifacts found scattered around the site suggested a timeline that could align with the era when Eden was believed to have existed. But this wasn't the most surprising part. The cave revealed a collection of strange plants that the researchers had never seen before. These unfamiliar species were unlike anything known today, and they were accompanied by ancient artifacts that hinted at long-lost times. The discovery left the explorers in awe. According to ancient texts, Eden was described as a place of unmatched beauty, filled with thriving plants and clear rivers. It was portrayed as a perfect, untouched world where the first humans lived in harmony with nature and each other. This garden was said to be nourished by 4 rivers, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates, and enjoyed a pleasant climate all year round, making it feel like an eternal spring. Flowers were always in bloom, fruits were always ripe, and the trees, heavy with fresh produce every season, included all kinds known for their beauty and nutritional value, especially the trees of life and the knowledge of good and evil. The Garden of Eden, as described in sacred texts, was a place rich in biodiversity, home to a variety of animals from tigers and bears to lions, all living peacefully alongside Adam and Eve. One popular belief is that the Garden of Eden was in Mesopotamia, which is present-day Iraq. This theory comes from the idea that the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which flow through Iraq, were the same rivers that watered the garden. This region is known for being home to some of the earliest civilizations, as supported by archaeological evidence. On the other hand, another theory places Eden in Africa, near the Nile River, based on biblical mentions of the Pishon and Gihon rivers, which some scholars believe are connected to the Nile and its branches. This idea is supported by Africa's history of ancient human fossils, which some link to the creation story of Adam and Eve. Dr. Smith's research team recently suggested that the Garden of Eden might actually be in northern Iraq, near the borders of Turkey and Iran. They found a cave system that they believe could be the biblical entrance to the garden. Meanwhile, another expert, Tarja Stordalan, offers a different viewpoint, suggesting that Eden might be in Lebanon, as hinted at in the book of Ezekiel. Some ancient texts also connect Lebanon with Eden, associating it with a sacred mountain sanctuary in the Lebanon and anti-Lebanon mountain ranges. Some religious groups have their own ideas about Eden's location, claiming it's closer to where they live, even outside the Middle East. For instance, early Mormon leaders believed it was in Jackson County, Missouri, and a group in the 20th century thought it was in Bedford, England. A preacher named L.V. Calloway argued that Eden was along the Apalachicola River in Florida, near Bristol. Others have even suggested that Jerusalem might be the true site. When Christopher Columbus first saw the South American continent in 1498, he thought he had found the earthly paradise. There are also claims that the Garden of Eden might be in what is now Xinjiang, as suggested by T.S. Santai in his book. But that's not the end of the story. Recently, a gate was discovered in Israel that some believe could be the entrance to the garden. This gate was found in Tel Lochish National Park, near Mount Hebron, in an ancient shrine that matches the earliest known temple, dating back to the 8th century before Christ. This discovery fits with biblical stories about King Hezekiah's reforms against local pagan practices. Archaeologists from the Jerusalem Heritage and Environmental Protection Ministry, along with the Nature and Parks Authority and the Israel Antiquities Authority, are working to uncover more about this ancient site and further develop the historic park. The latest excavations focused on revealing the rest of the gate, which had only been partially discovered before. The gate's large size highlights Lochish's importance as a major city, a fact supported by both historical and archaeological records. According to Emily, who leads the excavation, Jerusalem remains the most significant place related to this context. As we step away from the green trails of this newfound paradise, our search for understanding goes on, taking us deeper into the secrets of our ancient history. The Bible describes city gates as bustling places where important people like elders, judges, rulers, and kings often gathered. Researchers have even found benches at these gates, likely used by these influential figures. One such gate, in the city of Lochish, stands about 13 feet tall and covers an area of roughly 80 feet by 80 feet. The main road of the city runs right through the gate's 6 sections, 3 on each side. Emily shared details about various artifacts discovered in these gate rooms. In the first room, they found benches with armrests, along with items like jars, grains, scoops, and jar handles stamped with the names of officials or royal seals. Interestingly, 2 of these handles had a horn seal, which suggests they belonged to the king of Hebron. But not everyone agrees on the significance of this site. Some people believe it's just a fictional place rather than a real historical location. Others think the Garden of Eden isn't a physical place at all, but rather a symbol. According to this view, the story of Adam and Eve represents a spiritual journey, with the garden symbolizing the lost innocence and purity that humanity experienced when they were expelled. Despite what the Bible says, there's debate over whether the Garden of Eden really existed. Many people think the story is just a myth. However, the Bible refers to Eden as a specific place, not just any garden, and even the prophets mention it. The tree of life, first noted in the book of Genesis, also reappears in Revelation, adding to the intrigue. But this isn't the end of the story. Finding the Garden of Eden could have profound implications. It would suggest that the garden, long discussed in myths and theories, was a real place. It also offers a new way to look at the story of Adam and Eve's expulsion, encouraging scholars to rethink its significance. In the book of Revelation, Jesus refers to the tree of life once again. This is the same tree from which Adam was barred after his mistake, yet it is promised as an eternal gift to humanity. Discovering the Garden of Eden could also have environmental significance. The plants found there might be genetically unique, providing valuable insights for creating crops that can survive in different climates. Yet, despite all the research and scientific efforts, proving the existence of the Garden of Eden remains a challenge. This is crucial not just for history but also for preserving the area's unique ecosystem. After years of searching, there's still no solid evidence to confirm the garden's existence. It's possible that natural events like earthquakes, floods, or erosion over thousands of years may have erased any trace of this legendary place, a theory that fits with the timeline of human evolution. Human evolution has taken place over many thousands of years, showing a long and complex journey. However, it's unlikely that the Garden of Eden mentioned in the Bible was actually the birthplace of humanity. So, what's next for us? This legendary place still fascinates and puzzles many people. Searching for the Garden of Eden opens up many opportunities and challenges for researchers. There are chances for new discoveries in the large cave systems believed to hide the original Garden of Eden. But researchers face big challenges, such as how to explore these caves safely and protect their delicate ecosystems. It's possible that future explorations could reveal information about ancient civilizations that once lived in this area. We might also learn more about the beginnings of agriculture and gardening practices by studying the garden's spiritual significance. The Garden of Eden was once full of trees heavy with fruit, beautiful flowers, and sparkling rivers. Its fruits were as delicious as they were beautiful, and the garden seemed to always be in bloom, enjoying an endless spring. Here, humans and animals lived peacefully, creating a scene of incredible beauty. Finding this lost paradise could change how we understand history. In fact, the legend of the Garden of Eden has gained more attention due to a surprising discovery that places it in northern Iraq. This discovery not only challenges the biblical story of Adam and Eve but also opens the door for more research that could deepen our understanding of ancient societies, farming methods, and how people cared for the environment. Different theories about the garden's location exist, with some researchers trying to match biblical descriptions with ancient geographical features. According to the Bible, a river flowed from Eden, watering the garden before splitting into 4 separate rivers. The first, called Pishon, surrounded the region of Havilah, which was rich in gold, precious stones, and sparkling crystals. The second river, Gishon, flowed through the land of Cush. The third, starting east of Asher, was named Hiddekel, and the fourth river, Parat, completed the group. But even a quick look shows that these 4 rivers, Pishon, Gishon, Hiddekel, and Parat, might all have started from the Garden of Eden. The well-known biblical scholar, Rashi, identified the Pishon as the Nile, noting its tendency to flood and water Egypt. He also connected the word Pishon to Pishton, meaning flax, highlighting the flax industry in ancient Egypt that relied on the Nile. In ancient times, Egyptians dug up gold and precious stones in what was then known as Nubia, which is now southern Egypt and Sudan. This suggests that Havilah might have been near the Nile, possibly in Egypt or Sudan. But this isn't the only theory. Some think that Pishon might actually be the Ganges River, which flows through India and Bangladesh into the Bay of Bengal. This idea fits with Yonatan ben Uzziel's translation, which places Havilah in a region called Hindki, an old term for India. Interestingly, the historian Josephus thought it was the Indus River, which would link it to the modern-day city of Havelian, located between Pakistan and Kashmir along the upper Indus River. Having explored the physical and symbolic gateways of the past, we next seek the spiritual and prophetic messages that have traversed through time. The region traditionally known as Kush is often associated with Ethiopia, where the river Gishon is believed to begin as the Blue Nile. The Blue Nile starts its journey from Lake Tana in Ethiopia and flows all the way to Khartoum, Sudan. Here, it joins with the White Nile to form a single river that continues its path toward Egypt. A 12th century scholar, R. David Kincaid, interpreted the name Gishon to mean, to branch out, which reflects how the Blue Nile splits into various streams across Ethiopia. The river Hiddekel is commonly recognized as the Tigris River. It begins in southeastern Turkey and winds its way through Iraq before reaching the Persian Gulf. The biblical figure Daniel is said to have stood by the Hiddekel River and had a vision while he was living in exile in Babylonia. In ancient times, Babylonia referred to an area that is now part of Iraq. Yonatan ben Uzziel, who lived during the Second Temple period, translated Hiddekel into Aramaic as Diglas. Today, the river is called Dikal in Turkish and Dijla in Arabic. The region mentioned in ancient texts as Asher corresponds to the area once known as Assyria, located mainly along the upper Tigris River. The fourth river, Parat, is identified with the Euphrates River, which runs almost parallel to the Tigris. These rivers define much of what is known as the Fertile Crescent, a region that was once the center of early civilization. The name Euphrates comes from the Old Persian word Euphatu and the Akkadian word Puratu, and today it is called Ulfert in Arabic. The Euphrates also plays a significant role in the divine promise made to Abraham, marking the boundaries of the Promised Land. Historical records suggest that Jewish communities once extended as far as the Euphrates, where members of the tribe of Reuben lived. While the Tigris and Euphrates are well known, the exact locations of the other rivers mentioned in ancient texts, like the Pishon, remain unclear. Scholars continue to debate this due to the limited information available. The 3 major Abrahamic religions all reference a famous ancient garden. In Jewish tradition, the Garden of Eden is seen as both a spiritual realm for the righteous and a physical place created by Yahweh. Here, Yahweh made the first humans, Adam and Eve, considered the ancestors of all people. This garden, located in Eden according to the Talmud, represents a time of peace before Adam and Eve disobeyed Yahweh by eating from the tree of knowledge, influenced by a serpent symbolizing human self-destructive tendencies. Eve's choice altered the course of human history, but the story's implications reach further. When Adam and Eve ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge, they suddenly became aware of their feelings and bodily sensations. Before this, They lived in a simple state, clearly knowing right from wrong without any confusion. The Jewish view of the ancient garden is different from other religious perspectives. Let's take a look at how different religions see this story. In Islam, the Garden of Eden is called Jannat Adn, which means eternal gardens and heavens. It's seen as a paradise within heaven, a beautiful place where good people live in grand mansions surrounded by streams and angels. This is where Adam lived before coming down to earth, landing in a place called Sarandib. In the Quran, it's simply called the garden. The Quran mentions the garden many times, but without the term Adn, it mainly refers to the fourth level of Islamic paradise, not necessarily where Adam lived. Islamic scholars believe that this garden is more amazing than any other heavenly place, described in hadiths as something no one has ever seen or could even imagine. Although some Quranic verses describe this paradise in a tangible way, it is believed to be the home of prophets, the truthful, martyrs, believers, and fighters for the faith. Unlike the Bible, the Quran mentions only one tree in Eden, called the tree of immortality, which Allah told Adam and Eve not to go near. There's no mention of a tree of knowledge in the Quran. But this isn't the most surprising part. Some believe that this paradise is hidden and impossible to find. It's considered a myth because of the legendary rivers flowing through it, making it impossible to locate by following rivers like the Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, or Euphrates. Some scholars, particularly those with an anthropological focus, suggest that the story of the Garden of Eden is a reinterpretation of older stories from Mesopotamia about divine city gardens in ancient Sumer, now part of Iraq. These city gardens were made by gods to live in. These gods could die and had physical bodies, so they needed these gardens to grow food for themselves. The Sumerians called the land where these cities and gardens were Eden, the divine garden. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers, important to Eden, were used to water these gardens. Over time, the gods got tired of taking care of the gardens, so they created humans to do the work for them. Humans dug canals, planted crops, harvested them, and gave the food to the gods in temples built in these divine cities. Unlike the kind of creation stories in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, in this version, humans were just slaves for the gods, doing hard labor without any hope of a close relationship with the divine. The gods never kicked humans out of Eden because they didn't want to do the hard work themselves. They also didn't want to give humans immortality or divinity because if humans became immortal, there wouldn't be anyone left to take care of the gardens and feed the gods. So, the story of the Garden of Eden in the Bible seems to be a way of reshaping these older Mesopotamian stories about why humans were created. The real setting for the Genesis story might be the different city gardens of Eden in ancient Sumer, each with its garden for the gods. Among all the theories and debates about the Garden of Eden, one thing is clear: God has made a place for the purest souls to enjoy the fruits of the tree of life forever, whether we can find its actual location or not. So, let's aim to be among those destined for eternal life in paradise. What do you think? Could this recent discovery really be the historical Garden of Eden, or is it merely a sensational interpretation of geological findings? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more.